A very good evening to you and welcome to Weekend Primetime News, coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst Centre here in Colombo. I am Florine Rajendran. Let's start off with a look at the headlines.
President and Prime Minister felicitate SAG medalists and compare sports and politics.
If the Gazette on local government elections is not published by the 31st of March, MEP to step onto the streets with hundreds of thousands.
Nerochole power plant to be restored by Monday. CEB urges the public to use electricity sparingly.
Minister of Housing comments on the power outage.
UPFA General Secretary Vishwa Varnapala and veteran lyricist Dr. Ajanta Wanasinghe pass away.
The national ceremony to felicitate the sportsmen and women who won medals for Sri Lanka at the South Asian Games took place at Temple Trees.
Monetary awards were also presented to the medal-winning sportsmen and women at the recently concluded South Asian Games and their coaches in order to encourage them. The official website for the Presidential Sports Awards Ceremony 2016, which will take place in May, was launched by President Maithripala Sirisena.
I recall the link between sports and politics. The late President J.R. Jayawardena once summoned several of us and said that politics is like the game of cricket. You need to play with a leader. If not, you will not win. He said it's like rugby. You need to play hard in order to win. You cannot be slow. He said that tackles can cause injuries. He said it's like boxing. When you punch, you must punch for the opponent to fall. He said that it's like a game of chess. You need to think a lot about that. Finally, he said it's like a marathon. Not everyone can win gold or silver medals, and we must not stop our game simply because we did not win any medals. When we used to play cricket in our childhood, the neighbours would form a team. Anura Bandaranaike, his friends, and those at Temple Trees formed a team. I was the umpire. We had to ensure that we won. We have a responsibility as the government to intervene and construct grounds and indoor stadiums. Sportsmen are born from schools.
There's a high level of selfishness, narrow-minded attempts, divisions, jealousy and discrimination in the sports sector, politics, arts and even in the media. I'm aware of this because I served as the chairman of 2 sports unions. Elements like selfishness, division into groups and tug-of-war prevailing in the fields of politics, media and art are the main obstacles for the victories. We need to operate in the policy where the talented individual must be given his or her due place. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, while studying in Royal College, played cricket with Anura Bandaranaike and is now the Prime Minister. I played LA with the village boys in Polonnaruwa and am the President. I must also stress the importance of equitable distributions of benefits to the villages and the towns. I must say this to the sportsmen and women. After you win, people will start to look at you. Then they will start to look into your flaws. It's the same in politics.
The Ceylon Electricity Board today said that the operations at the currently dysfunctional Nerochole power plant will be restored by Monday evening. The Ceylon Electricity Board continues to urge the general public to use electricity sparingly, mainly after 6 in the evening.
On the 25th of this month, the Nerochole power plant became completely dysfunctional. A full capacity of 900 megawatts from Nerochole power plant is added to the national grid.
We hope to complete the primary steps by this evening and commence the connection to the grid by tomorrow. So by Monday morning, we hope to connect the first unit, and based on that we can say that by Monday evening, the power plant will be completely operational.
The normal electricity generation in Sri Lanka is between 3,800 to 3,900 megawatts. 2,200 megawatts of electricity is used for normal purposes. The consumption of electricity during the weekends is 1,900 megawatts. Under this situation, will there be a breakdown in the supply of electricity during the weekend?
We have the power and we have a standby unit. If there is a breakdown, there will be a power failure situation. we have the maximum capacity at present, but we urge the consumers to ensure that electricity is used sparingly from between 6:30 to 10:30 p.m. in order to provide an uninterrupted supply of electricity.
Following the island-wide power failure experienced on the 25th, the Minister of Power and Renewable Energy appointed 2 committees to inquire into this. However, trade unions point out that appointing committees would not solve the issue.
On previous instances, committees were appointed. However, the recommendations of those committees were never made available to the media or the general public. The public must be made aware of the committee recommendations. If the people must remain in darkness for several hours, what is the use of the electricity board? We are looking to broadening the protection system and the generation plants and supply lines mainly from lightning strikes. We hope to increase the protection.
Yesterday, unannounced power cuts were experienced in several areas. Electricity is supplied to the national grid via several sectors. One is the hydroelectricity generation, where the main contributor is the Victoria power plant, which adds 210 megawatts of power to the national grid. A capacity of 477 megawatts is provided to the national grid by the Kotmale, Upper Kotmale and Randanigala power plants. 20 of the 18 hydropower plants supply electricity to the national grid, while the Boralanda and Morgahakanda plants are still under construction. And they are expected to add 60 megawatts of power to the grid. Sri Lanka currently has 8 fuel-powered power plants, and they add 1,205 megawatts of power to the national grid.
Speaking at an event held in Kurunegala, Minister Sajith Premadasa commented on the power outage that the country experienced. The event was held to hand over 1.6 million rupees worth of financial aid under the Samata 7 program among 150 low-income families.
In the recent past, they harped on the miracle of Asia 24/7. They boasted about the Norochole power plant. Now, why was electricity supply halted yesterday and the day before? There won't be a shortage of power supply just because there was lightning. In the name of the miracle, they borrowed money for very high interest rates and built a power plant. It malfunctioned more than 30 times. This is why you had to be in the dark. Now they are going on saying not to be jealous about the miracle that they created. Don't take revenge on the miracle. Now you are experiencing the revenge of the miracle. That is why the entire country was in darkness for several hours. Now who is paying the loans taken for the Norochole power plant? You are the ones who has to pay for it.
Foreign Minister Mangala Samaravira addressed the U.S. Institute of Peace in Washington, D.C. on advancing reconciliation and democracy. The event was jointly hosted by the Heritage Foundation.
We are also improving our market access further abroad. Due to the previous government's human rights violations, we lost the GSP Plus concessions to the European Union. Following the successful visit of the EU Working Group on Human Rights Sri Lanka, we are now finalizing our formal application for GSP Plus reapplication, and we hope to regain the facility by the end of the year. We are also already in discussion to sign a free trade agreement with China. The United States is our single largest export market, accounting for a quarter of Sri Lanka's exports. Sri Lanka has some concessionary access to the US market through the GSP facility and has also signed a trade and investment framework agreement. Upgrading these ties by signing a free trade agreement will go a long way in propelling Sri Lanka to achieving its economic development. In addition, the government is very seriously exploring the possibility of applying to join the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
The leader of the Mahajan Eksat Peramuna, Dinesh Gunawardena, made a strong statement with regard to the Gazette on the local government elections. He was speaking at the MEP meeting in Giningalthena today.
Under the local government laws, the Elections Commission is bound to call for an election by the 31st of March. The Elections Commission does not mean the Elections Commissioner. A commission was appointed to make more independent decisions. This commission is not bound to follow the orders of the Prime Minister or the Minister. If the government does not gazette the process of calling for the election by the 31st of March, we will step out to the streets with hundreds of thousands of people.
It's been 1 year and 2 months. What is the difference? Do you feel good? You said that you cannot eat dal purchased for 140 rupees during the government of Mahinda. Now it's 240 rupees. You said you cannot eat rice purchased for 60 rupees. Now it's 100 rupees. Sprats are 600 to 700 rupees. The stomach feels it a lot. A certified price was given for tea buds on the 8th of January. It was 80 rupees. Our people voted for the Swan. Fertilizer was to be given at 1300 rupees. What happened? The buds are sold at 45 rupees while fertilizer is sold for 3000 rupees. What is the difference? This is the change the people wanted.
State Minister of Defence Ruwan Wijewardena today commented on national security. He was speaking at an event in Anuradhapura to present the Virusara privilege cards. The second phase of the distribution of Virusaru privilege cards commenced at the Gajaba Regiment premises in Salipura, Anuradhapura. The chairperson of the Ranaviru Seva Authority, Anoma Fonseca, and others attended the event.
There are rumours and allegations being made in the recent days that national security has been gravely affected. They speak of the removal of the Sampur Navy base. We will be moving the Sampur Navy base to a nearby location and provide it with more facilities to the Navy. As the government, we will not allow anyone to make any influence on national security. We are working towards protecting the unity of the country.
There is another group in Kandy organizing themselves and spreading various propaganda against us. They say that they will lose the pension after 55. These are false rumors. If we are trying to remove the pension, that is a sinful act that will affect us in return as well. There are false information being spread all around. There are different organizations being created. Do not be fooled by them. Military personnel are special individuals who are strong, and we are here for you. A public awareness program took place in Maligawatha today under the auspices of Minister of Megapolis and Western Development, partly Champika Ranavaka.
The event was held to raise awareness on the process that would be followed in order to select those who would receive houses under the Divisaru Puravara program conducted by the Ministry of Western Development. 266 housing units have been constructed in Maligawatha. We hope to hand over these houses by the end of May. Only another 5,000 acres of land remains in the Colombo district for another 50,000 families. In the next 15 years, almost 1 million babies will be born. Because of the lease matter, we are following a separate policy. We will follow a separate policy on those who live on rent. We will also follow another policy on those who are illegal settlers. There are some of those who take turns in sleeping. Some sleep in the afternoon and some at night. When we visit the slums in the city of Colombo, what we witness is a completely different lifestyle. That will be changed and we will bring about a new society for all those who will be living in the city of Colombo. The government of good governance is capable of doing that.
The Sri Lanka Freedom Party Youth Front of the Borale electorate convened a meeting today. The new board of officials for the SLFP Youth Front of the Borale electorate was elected at the meeting.
We need to accept reality. There were shortcomings with regard to the conduct of several ministers and MPs as they were engaged in a number of activities against the society. As we lost popularity, we were not able to achieve a majority in the recent election. However, the chairman of the party was elected as the president of the country. If he was not elected, we will be in the opposition. We have not formed a UNP government. This is not a UNP government. This is a national government under the leadership of Maithripala Sirisena. The Sri Lanka Freedom Party is one that will never die, no matter who tries to kill it. Therefore, there are no blank areas in the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. The party did not die after the passing of Bandaranayake or even after the demise of Sirimavo Bandaranayake. The party did not die after Chandrika Bandaranayake stepped down. It did not die even after the reign of Mahinda Rajapaksa. Therefore, the party will never die even after the term of President Maithripala Sirisena. The next leader will take the party forward.
News First inquired from the Deputy Speaker on the matter, where he has been summoned to appear before the Committee on Public Enterprises or COPE as the President of Sri Lanka Cricket.
ක්‍රිකට් පාලක මණ්ඩලය අවුරුදු 7-8ක් එක දිගටම වරින් වර අතුරු පාලක මණ්ඩල පවත්වනවා.
When an interim committee is appointed, the appointments are made by the Minister of Sport, and then the audit reports must be presented and be approved. For years, the audit reports of Sri Lanka Cricket have not been given to the members to be passed. In addition, there were reports of wrong conduct in the history of Sri Lanka Cricket. This is why COPE has invited us to provide an explanation to these matters.
ගැනීමක් සඳහා අපිට ආරාධනා කරලා කැඳවීමක් කරලා තියෙනවා COPE කමිටුව විසින්.
An event was held to mark the 59th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Russia and Sri Lanka and the 57th anniversary of the establishment of the Sri Lanka-Russia Friendship Society in the Russian Centre Auditorium yesterday.
As a result of diplomatic relationship, we have produced thousands of professionals and academics who pass out from Russian universities, and most of them held the top post in the public service as well as private organization in our country. So therefore, not only the trade and friendship between two countries, but especially through higher education, we have benefited from Russian scholarships during last 5 decades. So we have to strengthen further our relationship. We hope to send a parliamentary delegation to Moscow within next couple of months, and we will receive a similar delegation from Russian Duma.
Speaker of Parliament Karu Jayasuriya attended the event as the chief guest.
Russia has passed the test of friendship at times when Sri Lanka has been threatened with terrorism. Russia continued to assist us in many occasions, and it also maintained a consistent policy of supporting Sri Lanka's unity, sovereignty and territorial integrity. Thus we have come to know each other as a trustworthy partner, and now we should take additional vigorous steps to take our relations more specific and substantive. And I classify Russia as a friend during good times and bad times.
Today is day 4 of Sri Lanka's largest people-oriented campaign, the Newsfirst Gum at the Door-to-Door initiative. The campaign was launched to identify the hardships faced by individuals and villagers in the most rural areas of the nation and highlight those issues. The program is organized by Newsfirst and is supported by the University of Peradeniya.
The Newsfirst Gum at the Door-to-Door campaign, which reaches out to the most rural villages in the northern, northwestern and Uva provinces, commenced its program this morning as well. The Newsfirst team that took off from the Uva province commenced today's journey from the Uma Ella temple in Bandarawala. One sub-team set off to the villages of Ambagasduwa, Pannalagama, Kande Ella, Pahala Dawuldena, Mirya Kamata, Goda Kumbra and Valimada and inquired into the issues faced by the people.
Ada මොනවද වෙන්නේ දවල් කැමරට
අන්තිසේ මේ බත් වල තක්කඩි අඹලා කඩලා කියලා වෙන ඉඩම් හරි මේ නෑ නිසා ඒකින්ද අපි ඉතින් දුෂ්කරව තමයි ජීවත් වෙන්නේ
මේ පවුල මීට This is the place where this family lives after losing all their properties due to a landslide that took place in the area. This is the most sensitive moment that we experienced when compared to every other place we visited during the day.
The other sub-team visited the rural villages of Uwa Paranagama, Dawuldena, Pannala, Lunuatugama, Amagaldova, Madavela and Karagaha Ulpata. The Newsfirst team in the northwestern province commenced the door-to-door campaign from the Mahawa Thambullegama Vidyalaya. One sub-team set off towards Hito Kadawala, Veraharayama and Randanigama villages, and the locals in the area made an appeal from Newsfirst.
In many areas, the locals requested for something which will help them to survive when we engaged in this program. But this is what the residents of the Veraharayama in Mahawa requested from us. We request you to provide us a burial ground to this area, so at least then we could die in peace. Sirasa is the only place where we could express our problems that disturb us.
The other sub-team in the northwestern province reached the villages of Ihelakonvawa, Madiyava, Ratgalle Gama and Hito Kadawala and inquired into the issues faced by the people living there. The Newsfirst team, which is in the northern province, visited the villages located in the Mulethibu, Pudumatalan, Mullivaikal, Tulumunai and Kokilai areas.
The people have come here after these lands were released in December last year. They lived in camps in Vaunia. They say they had a house here. Today, there is no trace of their house. We came here on the 21st of December. For 3 months, we have not received any aid. We have no sanitation or bathing facilities. What we need is a small house.
The other sub-team visited the Kokilai, Kokkutuduwai, Karnataka areas and noted down the issues faced by the people. This is what a group of fishermen living here for 3 decades had to say.
We need a housing project. It is difficult to live in these areas with small children. It will be very beneficial if a housing project is implemented. At times, serpents come into our houses, so it is difficult to raise small children. We need security.
Together with the University of Peradeniya, the Newsfirst government, the door-to-door campaign will take place until the 18th of March and will reach out to the most rural places in the country and inquiring into their issues.
Professor Vishwa Varnapala, who was a veteran writer and politician, passed away this morning at the age of 79. He was the General Secretary of the United People's Freedom Alliance at the time of his demise.
Relatives of Professor Varnapala said that he suddenly fell sick this morning, following which he was admitted to a private hospital. He later passed away. Many politicians visited the residence of late Professor Varnapala today. At a time when there was a turmoil in the country and especially in the party, he intervened and took over the responsibility for the president. He did not allow the party to split. I must mention that he stood firm with the chairman of the party to keep the party strong. He was with the Sri Lanka Freedom Party at good times and in bad times. Even during the recent incidents, he stood firm and took over the responsibility to take the party forward. His demise is a massive loss for the SLFP and the alliance. Professor Varnapala, who was born on the 26th of December 1936, rendered a yeoman service towards the development of education. Professor Varnapala shared his knowledge with the world through the composition of a number of academic research volumes. He entered the political sphere of the country while pursuing his education at the Peradeniya University. Professor Vishwa Varnapala, an active member of the United People's Freedom Alliance, was appointed to the Central Working Committee in 1980 by Sirimawa Bandaranayake. He was a nationalist MP from 2004 to 2010 and held several ministerial portfolios to provide a service to the public. He served as the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Higher Education and as the Minister of Parliamentary Affairs. His book, The Sri Lanka Freedom Party Political Profile, was one that was acclaimed locally as well as internationally. Vishwa Varnapala, who served in the Sri Lanka Freedom Party for almost half a decade, was appointed as the General Secretary of the UPFA on the 26th of August 2015.
Veteran songwriter and senior journalist Dr. Ajanta Ranasinghe passed away this afternoon. She was 75 years of age at the time of his demise.
Relatives stated that Dr. Ajanta Ranasinghe passed away while receiving treatment at the National Hospital. The remains will be brought to the residence tomorrow afternoon, where the public will be able to pay their last respects. The final rites will be carried out on Monday at the Buralla Public Cemetery. Dr. Ajanta Ranasinghe was born in the year 1940 in the Talammahara area in Pannala, Kurunegala. He was a product of St. John's College, Nugegoda. As a print journalist, Dr. Ajanta rendered a yeoman service to society and also contributed immensely to the music industry. Dr. Ranasinghe, whose classical songs entertained many a generation, was also a guru to artists and worked towards the development of the local music industry. Bodhiye Viharaye, Me Maigaha Yata, Suvanda Dani, Uttama Muni Dalada, Nirvana Sarga, Indu Nilgangulal are some of the musical renditions composed by Dr. Ajanta Ranasinghe. While Dr. Ajanta Ranasinghe has 3 Sarsavi Awards and 2 Presidential Awards to his name, he also achieved the OCIC Award, a State Literary Award and a Mahagamasekara Award for his works. He was the father of 3 children.
State Minister of International Trade Sujiva Senasinghe engaged in a tour of a naval craft manufacturing plant in the Alakanda area in Wathala this morning.
There is a great need and an interest to increase exports. Investors have now got a very clean opportunity to come forward for this. This government is constantly working on what the people of this country need, what do the people receive, how to increase the inflow of money to the country, and how to increase employment opportunities. We have no need to take commissions or ransoms. Ask around and see whether we have asked for commissions. When the big bosses and their sons did it, the other ministers also got the courage to ask for commissions. But we have no such need.
Newsline features the mounted division of the Sri Lanka Police. Live from Colombo on Monday the 29th of February at 7 a.m. on TV1.
Well, that's a wrap of Weekend Primetime News. For the News First team, I'm Florine Rajendran. Good night and take care.